Hello everyone, happy Sunday to you. Ethan Stieber here with Stieber Weather Forecasting. Another long-range forecast video for you today. We've got two primary things we're looking at in this week-long forecast period. First one is the potential for a winter storm, again, Tuesday afternoon and evening through Wednesday morning. That's going to have some impacts. We'll talk about those. We're also going to talk about some really cold temperatures coming back into the picture, basically from now until next weekend. So we'll talk about all that. First up on your screen is the Winter Storm Severity Index put together by the National Weather Service and the Weather Prediction Center. It has the area highlighted basically along and south of I-70 for at least some minor impacts for the winter storm on day 3, which would be Tuesday in this case. Could be upgraded to some moderate impacts as we go later on in the next day or two as these forecasts keep coming out. I'll show you why here in just a second. First up on your screen is the current hazards map. Notice there's a lot going on in our area. Heavy rain yesterday in Kentucky. At one point, the entire state of Kentucky was under some sort of flood warning or flash flood warning. So keep them in your thoughts as they're dealing with a lot of excess water and just excess rainfall that happened yesterday. Off to our west, notice all this kind of dark blue, is for the next storm system. That's our winter storm watch put out in portions of Kansas and southwestern Missouri. We'll see that expanded eastward within the next probably 12 to 24 hours at most. So what I'm going to do now is we're going to time out kind of what future radar could look like. I've got 4 different models I'll show you, then we'll talk early potential on totals and some cold. So first up is the GFS. This is the long-range American model. We'll pick this up Tuesday morning about 9 a.m. Here comes the snow off to our west. It looks to start working in by dusk on Tuesday. So somewhere in the 6 p.m. time frame is what's currently up on your screen. As we go later on, it keeps snowing overnight and into the first part Wednesday morning for that morning commute before it's really out of here by noon. Here's noon on Wednesday. Next up is the Canadian model. It paints a little bit different picture. It's got the storm system suppressed a little bit further to the south and tracking a little bit further to the south. So the snow gets kicked off just a little bit later. Here's Wednesday at midnight. Notice light snow starting to work into the area, but nothing quite as heavy as what the GFS was showing. And it has it out of here just a little bit earlier as well. Everything, again, well off to our east by noon on Wednesday. Now for a little bit higher resolution picture, here's the NAM model. This is kind of our medium range American model. And notice it wants to get snow in the picture just a little bit earlier, maybe for your Tuesday morning commute. I'm not 100% sold on this solution yet, but something we'll keep our eyes on. As we go later on into the day on Tuesday, here's Tuesday evening at 6 p.m. The bulk of the heavy snow is starting to work its way into our neck of the woods. And by midnight, everyone's seeing some snow before it overspreads the area and moves out of here by the mid-morning hours on Wednesday. Last one to show you, just to show you kind of the model agreement right now, is the medium-range Canadian model. We'll pick this up again Tuesday around noon. Here comes the snow off to our west, and it will track in. Again, the Canadian models are all wanting to keep the storm a little bit further south, so lighter snow for us Tuesday evening and overnight into Wednesday morning before it pushes out of here really by the morning commute on Wednesday. So there's that. Let's talk totals real quick. So don't take all the numbers with a grain of salt yet. Look at higher snow totals versus lower snow totals, as in higher percentages of seeing some snow versus less. First up is the GFS. It paints everyone basically along and north of Route 50 and somewhere in the 3 to 5 range. South of Route 50, we could see a little bit more. Again, I think the heaviest snow totals are going to be here in southeastern Missouri, where we could be looking at a foot plus of snow, especially really just southern Missouri, but southeastern Missouri does also look to have a pretty good bullseye on it too. How about the long-range Canadian? Again, 3 to 5, roughly along and north of Route 50. Lower amounts as you go further north. Again, the Canadian models all kept us in a little bit lower snow totals, so 3 to 5 generally across the board expected from the Canadian. The NAM model this morning decided to put out a whopper of a snowstorm, And I'm showing you this just to show the range of model snowfall data right now. Everyone in at least a 10-inch range, heavier amounts as you go further off to the west. The medium range Canadian paints a much different picture, 2 to 4 for most of us, heavier amounts again further in that southern Missouri, southeastern Missouri area. And this one just came in. This is the European model. It keeps us a little bit lower, even that, somewhere in the 2 to 3 range for much of the area. So you kind of get the picture what we're looking at in terms of snowfall. And this is an ensemble view of snow, heavier amounts towards St. Louis and further south. Generally for us, somewhere in the 3 to 5 inch range right now. For what it's worth, the National Weather Service is in fair agreement with it. Expected storm totals out of this paints everyone along Route 50 somewhere in the 2 to 5 range, and then points south maybe in the 3 to 6, 4 to 6 range. High end, this is 1 in 10 chance amounts. Again, there's that 6-inch total along Route 50 and south. Low end amounts, if the storm stays really far to our south, we're not looking at a whole lot. So you kind of get the picture. I'll probably have a first call snowcast out sometime this evening. With the higher resolution models coming in, I want to make sure that the NAM model isn't seeing something too early that all the other models aren't seeing yet. So we're going to wait and hold off on our snowcast until we see more model agreement, or we see this as kind of a outlier scenario. One thing that we can talk about, though, that is a pretty sure bet right now is some really cold temperatures moving in as we go into next week. So we're going to pick this up basically right now here on Sunday. And this is a temperature anomaly, so the reds are warmer than normal, blues and purples are all colder than normal temperatures. And as we go into the work week, here's Monday for you, we're going to stay cold basically all week. As this cold air from Canada really starts to push in, any sort of snowpack we get on the ground is not going to go anywhere, and it's going to stick around for a while. So this takes us all the way out to next weekend. And notice as I kind of back this up and go back over the whole work week, we're looking anywhere from 15 to 20 degrees below normal for much of us across the area. And this really doesn't start to let up until we get into early next week. By next Monday, February 24th, when we could start to see some relief after that. Just to give you a picture what that could look like with some numbers, this is forecast high temperatures for Tuesday afternoon, lower teens, mid-20s across the area. Wednesday, we get a little bit colder, somewhere in the lower 20s, or potentially anywhere from mid-teens to 20 degree-ish. By Thursday, we are definitely colder, upper 20s for much of us. Friday, again, similar picture. Saturday, you kind of get the picture. We start to warm up a little bit by the weekend, but still well below freezing. What's really going to get us is the wind chills and single-digit lows, air temperatures over that week. So this is Wednesday morning lows, again, mid-teens, mid to lower teens. Thursday, we get even colder. We go down to single digits, maybe some negative degree readings off to our west. Friday morning, much of the same picture, single degree lows. And wind chills are going to be just downright cold with this too. There's single degree or below zero wind chills for your Friday. And Thursday morning's even colder than that with, maybe negative 10 to negative 15. So you get the picture. It's going to get cold, folks, as we go into this next week. So to kind of wrap everything up, summarize it. Timing for the winter storm, I'm thinking by 6 p.m. Tuesday all the way until about noon on Wednesday, should be well off to our east by that. Accumulations, I'm not going to put a total out yet, but anywhere in the 3 to 6 range I think is pretty reasonable for much of the area. Could go up, just depends on how those afternoon runs start looking. Impacts could be moderate to major depending upon the snowfall totals. This does look to be an all-snow event for us, so no ice we have to worry about this time, and we will see some extreme cold as we go into midweek. So stay tuned for updates. Again, I'll have a snowcast out, first call snowcast out later this evening, and then I'm sure I'll have another video out tomorrow talking the latest updated information.